A lunar probe took a photo. A week later, the scientists who saw it were on their knees. The target was an anomalous lunar object, the third such peculiar discovery ever detected on our natural satellite. It was supposed to be a routine observation of a distant, frozen regolith sample. But what the probe's camera captured, and what a week of deep analysis uncovered, was something else. The image revealed a terrifying truth about the object, a secret so profound it has forced NASA into a week of complete silence and changed our understanding of the cosmos forever. A picture from the void. The thing nobody tells you is just how incredible the technology is. The high-rise camera aboard the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter can resolve features as small as a kitchen table from orbit. Scientists were giddy with anticipation. This camera was expected to deliver the sharpest, most detailed images of a lunar anomaly ever captured. For comparison, when the Hubble Space Telescope photographed Luna 3 back in July, it was from a staggering 354 million miles away. From the Moon, the view would be 20 times closer. This was our chance to finally see what this mysterious traveler truly was. Was it just a rock? Or was it something more? Then the first packets of data began to arrive. The initial images were a letdown. To put it mildly, they were a mess. A blurry, pixelated smear against the black. The object was moving at over 150,000 miles per hour, and capturing a clear shot from a moving orbiter was proving nearly impossible. For days, JPL engineers worked tirelessly, stacking hundreds of images, using advanced algorithms to cancel out the blur and the cosmic radiation that peppered the sensors. On the surface, the lunar rover had better luck. Anchored to the ground, it managed to lock on and capture a long exposure shot through the thin lunar atmosphere. The file was transmitted back to Earth, a single, precious image that held the promise of answers. But when it arrived, it was just as disappointing, a faint, gray smudge. The world's most expensive camera on another celestial body had taken a photo that looked like a fingerprint on a dusty lens. What many overlooked was that this was just the raw data. The real work was about to begin. A specialized team at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory was tasked with the analysis. They were given 1 week. Using a powerful new AI-driven enhancement program, they would digitally rebuild the image, pixel by pixel. Their job was to pull a clear picture out of the digital noise to reveal the face of our lunar visitor. For the first few days, there was nothing but silence. The public waited. The scientific community held its breath. Then, whispers began to leak from inside JPL. The analysis wasn't going as planned. The AI was struggling. The data wasn't behaving like light reflecting off a simple rock. There were anomalies, strange energy signatures, inconsistent thermal readings, and a light pattern that seemed to shift and change. The week of analysis turned from a routine technical process into a frantic, 7-day scramble. The team worked around the clock, fueled by coffee and a growing sense of dread. The AI kept flagging impossibilities in the data. The object's albedo, its surface reflectivity, was changing. In some parts of the image, it was as dark as asphalt. In others, it shined with the brilliance of polished metal. Furthermore, the object was emitting faint but measurable radio waves, not in a chaotic burst, but in a structured, repeating pattern. This wasn't a natural lunar formation. Lunar formations don't have patchwork surfaces, and they certainly don't broadcast radio signals. As the final day of analysis arrived, the team initiated the last phase of the AI enhancement. They had isolated the anomalies and instructed the AI to use them as a guide to reconstruct the image. They were feeding the ghost in the machine back into itself. As the program ran, the team gathered around the main screen, waiting. No one spoke. The silence in the room was heavier than any rock in space. Slowly, an image began to form, and what they saw made their blood run cold. The blurry smudge was gone. In its place was something that would forever haunt their nightmares. A picture worth 1,000 fears. After a week of painstaking digital reconstruction, the final enhanced image of Luna 3 was revealed. In the silent control room at JPL, the blurry smudge was replaced by an image of shocking clarity. The scientists didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They stared in stunned silence, and according to an anonymous source inside the room, several of them literally fell to their knees. What they were looking at was not a natural lunar object. It wasn't a rock. It was a machine. The object was massive, estimated to be over 12 miles long, and shaped like a jagged shard of obsidian. But its surface wasn't natural. It was covered in a grid of perfect geometric patterns. Straight lines, sharp angles, and repeating hexagonal shapes stretched across its entire length, gleaming with a metallic sheen. No natural process could create such flawless symmetry. This was irrefutable evidence of intelligent design. But not all things are what they seem, and the structure itself wasn't the most terrifying part. As the scientists zoomed in, they saw that the lines and grids were not just surface markings. They were trenches and channels, some several hundred feet deep, carved into the object's body. And inside these channels, something was moving. Faint pulses of light, captured by the probe's infrared sensors, were flowing through the grid like electricity through a circuit board. The object was active. It had a metabolism. It was powered. What many overlooked was the source of this power. Tucked into one end of the shard-like object was a circular structure, a perfectly round dish nearly 2 miles in diameter. It glowed with a faint internal heat, and at its center, the AI had reconstructed something that defied all explanation. A focused beam of light, not streaming behind it like a comet's tail, but firing forward into the blackness of space. The thing nobody tells you about comets is that their tails are always pushed away from the sun by solar wind. An object with its own directed forward-facing energy beam isn't just unnatural, it's a complete violation of physics as we know it. This was no simple engine for propulsion. The beam was coherent, focused, and pulsing with the same rhythmic energy as the radio signals they had detected. The object wasn't just moving, it was scanning. It was broadcasting. It was actively exploring the space ahead of it. The team quickly ran simulations. What was the purpose of this beam? The AI's conclusion was chilling. The frequency and intensity of the energy suggested it was a form of long-range environmental analysis. It was firing pulses of energy and reading the echoes that bounced back from planets, asteroids, and anything else in its path. It was mapping our solar system. The terrifying realization washed over the room. This wasn't just a piece of alien technology that had drifted aimlessly for millions of years. It was an active, functioning probe, a silent, methodical explorer sent from another star system. And it had been observing us. The scientists fell to their knees not just in awe, but in fear. Humanity had spent decades beaming messages into the void, hoping for an answer. Now, an answer had arrived, uninvited. It wasn't a friendly greeting or a mathematical equation. It was a 12-mile-long self-powered reconnaissance drone that was now just a few million miles from the moon. The week of analysis had ended, but a week of panic had just begun. NASA now held a secret that could change the course of human history. The image was proof that we are not alone, but it was also a terrifying warning. We were being watched. When the world went dark. The image from the lunar probe was a world-shattering revelation, but the public saw nothing. In the days following the analysis, NASA went completely silent. Scheduled press conferences were abruptly canceled. Scientists involved in the project suddenly became unreachable. Their emails met with automated replies, their office lines rerouted. To the outside world, it was just a technical delay. But inside the corridors of power, a quiet panic was spreading. The thing is, an image of an alien probe isn't something you can just post on the agency's website. It's a matter of global security. An emergency meeting was convened, bringing together top officials from NASA, the Pentagon, and the White House. The question on the table was simple and terrifying. What do we do now? The debate was fierce. One faction argued for immediate full disclosure. They believed humanity had a right to know that we were not alone and that hiding the truth would only lead to a greater panic when it eventually leaked. They warned that trying to keep a secret of this magnitude was not only impossible in the digital age but also morally wrong. They argued that the discovery, while startling, could be a unifying moment for humanity, a chance to come together in the face of a cosmic truth. But their voices were drowned out by another, more powerful group. To put it mildly, the security apparatus was terrified. They saw Luna 3 not as a scientific discovery, but as an unknown threat. What many overlooked were the strategic implications. This 12-mile-long object was a piece of technology so far beyond our own that we couldn't even begin to comprehend it. Its forward-facing energy beam was a complete mystery. Was it just a scanner? Or could it be a weapon? Its movements seemed deliberate, and its path was taking it on a tour of our inner solar system. The military and intelligence agencies argued that releasing the image would cause mass hysteria. It could trigger economic collapse, religious upheaval, and widespread social chaos. They painted a grim picture of a world unable to cope with the reality of an alien presence that was so powerful and so close. Their argument was simple. We can't tell the public because we have no idea what we're dealing with. We have no way to defend ourselves if its intentions are hostile. The decision was made: a total information lockdown. The official story would be that the analysis of the Luna 3 images was inconclusive. The data was corrupted by solar radiation during transmission. The object would be reclassified as an anomalous but natural lunar formation. A quiet, coordinated campaign began. All data from the lunar rovers and orbiters related to Luna 3 was moved to secure classified servers. Scientists who worked on the analysis were forced to sign new ironclad non-disclosure agreements, backed by threats of federal prosecution. The story was to be buried. But in the age of the internet, secrets don't stay buried for long. A junior analyst on the team, horrified by the decision to hide the truth, leaked a single, heavily redacted document to an independent space journalist. The document didn't contain the image, but it described it in chilling detail. Object exhibits clear signs of artificial non-terrestrial manufacture, extensive geometric surface patterns, evidence of a forward-projected, coherent energy beam. The leak was a tiny spark, but it landed in a field of dry tinder. The story exploded across alternative news sites and social media. Hashtags like #NASA cover-up and #lunar probe went viral. The official silence from NASA only fueled the fire. Every bland, evasive statement they released was torn apart by an army of online sleuths. People began digging, connecting the dots between the sudden silence, the canceled press conferences, and the long history of UFO secrecy. The world didn't have the photo, but it now had the story. And the story was far more terrifying than any blurry image of a comet. It was the story of a government that had just confirmed we are not alone and had decided to lie about it. The silence from NASA was no longer just a lack of information. It was an active, deafening roar. We, the people of today, are standing at a crossroads we can't even see. While we go about our daily lives, worrying about bills and traffic, a truth so monumental it could redefine our existence is being actively hidden from us. The AI-enhanced image of Luna 3 exists. It sits on a classified server, a silent testament to the fact that we are not the only thinking beings in this universe. But what does that really mean for us? For a moment, let's step away from the conspiracy and the cover-up and just ask the question: what happens the day after we know for sure? You see, the story of Luna 3 isn't just about an object in space. It's about a fundamental shift in the human story. For our entire history, we have operated under one of two assumptions. Either we are alone, or we are being watched over by benevolent, godlike beings. The object found on the moon suggests a third, far more unsettling possibility: that we are simply a point of interest, a piece of data to be collected by an intelligence that is ancient, powerful, and utterly indifferent to us. What many overlooked in the panic is the nature of the object itself. It isn't a friendly spaceship flashing its lights. It's a cold, dark probe, silently scanning, collecting information. Its presence isn't an invitation, it's an observation. We are no longer the masters of our own planet. We are specimens in someone else's laboratory. Is it better to live with a comfortable lie than a terrifying truth? Let us know your thoughts below. Like this video and subscribe for more secrets we were never meant to know.